Hi, this is Spine, and today I'm going to break down the best of 3 series between Mousesport's Hasu Ops and Slayer's MMA. This was played in the group stages of the Intel Extreme Masters 2012 in Kiev. The first game is played on IC Cup and Tier Shipyard, and the 2 players spawned in cross-map position. Hasu sends his first scouting probe after the gateway, and MMA sends a scout after completing the barracks, starting the game with a nice worker high five. MMA waits until the probe is driven out to throw down his fast expansion, and Hasu's quick reaction allow him to get additional damage on the scout, denying MMA access into the main. To make sure he doesn't get all in, MMA sends a second scout SCV and does not only see the natural but also the entire main of Hasu. MMA gets the second base running as his 3 additional barracks finish up. Hasu on the other hand drops a robo facility before his nexus and 2 additional gateways are completed. MMA fakes the marine push while starting the stim research and holds his position at the watchtower. When Hasu tries to move up the ramp without an observer, MMA's marines quickly jump forward to gun down the injured stalker. MMA is still very light on marauders, since only 1 barracks has a tech lab on it as he starts his factory and shortly thereafter his engineering bay. Hasu is still chrono boosting probes while scouting with observers and slowly getting his tech going. A minute after the first attempt, Hasu once again tries to take the watchtower, and his nice control allows him to take down some marines without losing anything. But as the marauders show up, the stalkers have to retreat. After these little skirmishes, the action goes down for a bit as both players start to macro up. MMA gets all his key upgrades, add-ons, additional barracks and a starport, while Hasu gets a second forge and a Twilight Council to go for double upgrades plus High Templar tech. MMA still has control of the watchtower and a scout on every attack path, but Hasu manages to sneak a probe by and see no third base from MMA yet. As Hasu puts up his Templar archive, MMA loads up a drop in plain sight of the observer, while sending the rest of his army to destroy the rocks and slow down the third base of Hasu. The drop hits, but Hasu is prepared and cleans it up nice and easy.
This is my C-14 Impaler Gauss rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
As both players are out on the map, the death of the bravest marine pushes MMA's army back while the third finishes. Hasu's third is not even halfway done. Hasu takes control of the watchtower and defends yet another drop without a problem. MMA tries to move out with his 1-1 bioball as soon as he has 3 EMPs available, but he doesn't feel ready to fight the 2-1 Gateway Arcan army. Hasu fell behind in supply as he was checking hard. 2-2 is nearly done, the first Templar with Storm are about to be ready and he gets his Robotech up. During this supply low he tries to take down MMA's rocks, gets caught from a bad angle in the middle of the map and loses a big portion of his army. MMA regroups with his reinforcements and decides to attack. He lands some huge EMPs on everything except the well-placed High Templar. A little dance begins and MMA knows he can take down the third if he just dances long enough. Since MMA split his army, Hasu was able to overcome the supply deficit and defend his attack, but only after losing his third base. As he retakes his third base, he slowly rebuilds his Colossus Templar army and works on his 3 free upgrades. MMA takes the gold base in the center and starts his 3 free upgrades. MMA once again holds the watchtower and decides to poke forward with his ghosts, hoping to get some EMPs off. But Hasu is quick to react, blinks offensively and takes out nearly all the ghosts. Without the crucial EMPs and snipes, the 2-2 bioball gets decimated by the Colossus Templar army. For the first time in the game, Hasu has a supply lead and he keeps pushing until he reaches the heart of the Terran base, and this is GG for game number 1. Game number 2 is played on Jakura's plateau and once again the 2 players spawn in cross map positions. Hasu goes for a scout after his gateway and sees MMA took an early gas. With the first 100 gas, MMA builds a factory at the cliff and follows it up with a tech lab on the barracks to get Marauder plus the slow upgrade. Hasu builds a Zealot, a Stalker and a Sentry while chrono boosting his warp gate research. He throws in an expansion and slowly adds 3 gateways over the next minute. MMA flies his factory to the low ground to get ready for his Helium Marauder push. The push hits as the nexus is about 75% complete, and since Hasu can prevent the bunker from going up, he decides to cancel his nexus and the 4th gateway and go for 3 gate plus robotics facility. MMA starts a stim research and 2 additional barracks while patrolling the edges of Hasu's main to prevent being flanked.
Blaze of glory! No!
MMA decides he has done enough damage by preventing Hasu's expansion and he retreats back to his own natural while still keeping the watchtowers occupied. He scouts Hasu's expansion going up, but decides to keep the 2 bunkers at his natural and even build a turret to be prepared for anything. Hasu takes the watchtowers with his stalkers and finally gets his natural up and running, but 2 full minutes after MMA, which causes his tech to be behind. With his first 2 medevacs, MMA moves his army to the middle of the map to secure 3rd base and tries to load up a drop. With his great observer coverage, Hasu spots the medevac being loaded up and MMA goes for the double fake out. He unloads, reloads and flies around the base to drop, but just like in game 1, Hasu doesn't take any damage from the harass. MMA starts his 2 bio upgrades as a planetary at the 3rd finishes and blindly builds 2 Vikings, but Hasu is going for a Templar Archive and 9 gates on 2 bases. MMA tries to get some damage done with his 2 medevacs, but Hasu seems drop proof. Hasu waits for his important upgrades and 3 Archons to go for his huge 2-base push, right before MMA's upgrades are ready. Hasu sends some Zealots to the 3rd which get cleaned up by the planetary, and he doesn't engage the main army perfectly. Some Zealots are running up to the main, the Stalkers hardly attack the actual bio ball, and the Archons don't get the crucial area of effect damage to the Terran army. MMA handles that attack very nicely. He gets a good EMP off and stutter steps as long as possible. Even though Hasu started his 3rd base during this attack, he is behind since MMA has his 3rd up and running for over 4 minutes now. Knowing how quick Hasu reacts to drops, MMA decides to use this to his advantage. He sends a decoy drop to Hasu's 3rd to bring his army out of position and make him use the warp gate cooldown, while a drop in the main manages to take out some of the tech buildings and deny the storm upgrade. Hasu knows he can't defeat a big bio army without High Templar, so he immediately pushes MMA, who started a 4th base in the meantime. MMA lands EMPs on a big portion of the army, and as the Zealots die, Hasu retreats with the Stalkers to regroup. When MMA keeps chasing him, Hasu turns around after warp in and gets himself surrounded and loses his whole army. He warps in some DTs, but the fully upgraded Terran army corners Hasu for the GG. The rubber match of the series is played on Shattered Temple, and the players spawn in close by air positions. Once again Hasu scouts after his gateway and he spots MMA's early gas. MMA builds a factory and a starport while producing Marines and Hellions. Hasu gets 2 gas geysers, but has only 2 workers mining in the bottom one. He tries to trick MMA by pulling guys out of gas before attacking the hidden SCV, and going for Blink, 3 gates and a robo facility. To afford all of this, Hasu stops producing units of the Zealot and 2 Stalkers, which he uses to cover all the attack paths. As MMA's medevac finishes, he loads up his 7 Marines while going for Hasu's front with 4 Hellions. Hasu's defense relied on spotting the attack, so the drop and the Hellions catch him off guard. With only 1 warp-in cycle at hand, he is not able to defend his workers and quickly GG's. I assume he was going to go for 1 base blink all in, but got caught before his production kicked in. MMA on the other hand only delayed his expansion to get this early harass, which ultimately won him the series. Feel free to leave a comment and thank you for watching.